Okay, and we're about 3 minutes into the game between Quebec and Ontario here. Quebec moving into the forward 50 with Isa taking the mark uncontested there. Ball goes in and it's a contest. Comes to ground with good side on contact between Ontario and Quebec, and they're over the ball in the forward pocket. With about 4 players taking the ball to ground, it's going to be a ball up with the umpire about 15 metres out from the Quebec goal.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that's why I'm asking. It's like after already 50, probably.
Ontario wins the tap. It's comes to ground. Quebec gets the kick though, and it's going to be a mark. No, it's not. It's not far enough. They get the kick again. It's play on. Ontario takes a good defensive mark in front of the Quebec behind. Immediately getting the play going again to number 13 here on the wing. She plays on. They move up and they've got some space. We have it's a 4-on-2 here for Ontario, and they're in the open. They're in the clear. They get the ball into their forward line, but it's a good defensive spoil by Quebec. Ball goes to ground and they're fighting over control. It's still in dispute, but Ontario comes up with the ball and they come away. She'll get the kick on goal and it goes towards the posts. It'll bounce through and it goes across the line for a behind. Some good play by Ontario there, getting into space and moving forward. Quebec probably need to come back a bit quicker in defence, but they'll learn from that and hopefully change going forward. So the ball comes out after the kick out from the behind, and it's not a clean mark, so it's come to ground. Ontario again first at the ball, off of feet, clean kick out of the air by the Ontario forward, and it's still scrappy. It's coming out towards the defensive 50. On the far side, we've got a massive players, but they get a good clean kick that goes 40 metres into the Ontario forward pocket, with Quebec getting back to try and make the stop. They get the handball, but it's straight to one of the Ontario forwards. She runs into the open goal and misses, unfortunately, to the right-hand side of the behind post. So it's another behind to Ontario. Setting up here for the kick-outs, and Quebec is going to be looking towards that left-hand side. It's a good kick into the open and a great diving mark taken there in the back pocket. Everyone moving forward now. There's about 20 players flowing down the ground. And we get off hands there. It's not a mark. It touched multiple players on the way through, so it's not a clean mark. There's no free kick. It comes back into the Ontario forward pocket, and the Quebec player running away gets taken down. The ball comes out in the tackle, and it's play on. Ball is almost smothered on the kick there. It's come across the face of goal, and it's another behind for Ontario. So Ontario having the run of play here. Quebec struggling to get it decisively outside of their defensive 50. They'll need to get some clean play if they want to get another score on the board. Ontario's been playing strong this weekend with a couple of wins on the board, and the form looks like they're continuing into this final. So the ball goes straight up the corridor to the Quebec ruck there, but she cannot take a clean grab. Ball comes to ground and it's again contested. So Ontario getting a handball out of the pack. And the play moves on, it's going back and forth, but Quebec now with the kick out of the 50. There's no one there, unfortunately, on the receiving side of the kick. It's a fair contest there between Ontario and Quebec, and the ball's going to come straight back towards the 50. Unfortunately, no mark taken there by Quebec in defense. The Ontario comes through again, and it looks like there's a high tackle there on the far back pocket, so Ontario gets a free kick. They're going to get an opportunity to put the ball in close to goal and then maybe take a shot. The pass is on, but it doesn't go far enough, and the mark is taken by Quebec in the back pocket. Going back out of defence, they get some space, but good work there by the Ontario player with a 2-on-1 that she wins. It wasn't in her favour. They get some play, get some run. The ball is contested again a few times by hands with a big snap kick out of the pocket across the face, and another behind for Ontario. They're really peppering these goals here, but they'll want to be converting these for a major score rather than continuing to get behind. So Quebec back out of the goal square. Intercept mark taken there by Ontario. It was a contested mark, but it wasn't heavily contested, so we'll see them kicking again towards the goal line. Takes the run in, it's off the boot, and it's going to just about get there. No, it's touched on the line, it's still in play. 4 players on the ball, it comes out in the tackle. Ontario almost gets away with the kick, but it was well defended there by Quebec. It's a scrap in front of the goal square. There's about 10 players surrounding the ball. It comes out the back towards Ontario. Another great tackle by Quebec, and it's holding the ball. She had prior opportunity to get rid of to make the disposal, and it was not made before she was tackled, so that is a free kick to Quebec. The kick comes out, it falls short, it wasn't taken on the half volley cleanly. Ontario have about 4 players behind the ball, so they're able to get the handball out, and Quebec is making a contest. They're not giving up these goals easily, we'll say that for them. But the ball's bouncing in. Ontario gets the handball out, that was almost in the back, but it wasn't paid. Ontario again on the ball. They just seem to have 2 or 3 extra players always on every contest, and it's a kick 4 goals from about 20 metres out. It's a goal for Ontario after that play. We saw a chain of about 3 or 4 handballs there come in. They were directly in front, but about 50 metres out. They worked their way around into clean space, and the shot for goal was good. It was very straight and over the heads of those trying to defend on the goal line. So back in the centre again for the ball up, and we have a free kick. Too many players in the square, so it's going to be an Ontario free kick from the ruck. You're only allowed 4 players on each team, and Quebec had too many players in before the ball was in the air. So now we're in play. We're going towards the outer wing, the right-hand side, as Ontario heads towards goal again. They're on the half forward, but Quebec wins the ball in the contest, and now they're out on the left-hand side. If they can get some space, they might be able to get a run on here. And it's contested on the wing and goes out of bounds, so we'll have the throw in. So the ball on the out of the wing, it comes in, it's thrown in, and we've got about 3 or 4 people trying to go up for the ball. Realistically, there should only be 2 ruckmen. But Ontario gets some open space on the outer side. There's a failed running bounce there. It got away from her. The ground isn't exactly conducive to bouncing on the run, but it was a good attempt, and the ball goes in towards the goal square. Ontario's up for the mark, can't take it. Picked up by the Quebec defender, and she's going again. Oh, that was a big hit. It was almost front on, but she is still on her feet and chasing it down again. She keeps going. The ball comes out in the tackle. Now there's a few players coming in there to help the Quebec defender, who was doing very well there on her own in that back pocket. It's gone along the ground. Ontario picks it up, and they're going to try and put it into that goal square. She runs through the tackles. It's come out, and then we're back into a contested ball. A spare player on the backside there. She's able to get the kick away, and it goes towards defence, but Quebec with an intercept mark to slow things down. We've got a lead out here on the wing. It's unfortunately a shanked kick, and it's going to go back into the contest. And we see Ontario making the switch to the outside. Kick is over their head, unfortunately, so it's going to be a foot race to the ball before it gets to the boundary. And there's 2 Ontario to 1 Quebec there. Ontario wins that contest quite easily, and a great kick into the goal square with a mark for Ontario directly in front, about 5 metres out. This should be converted with no problems whatsoever. So number 4 off one step makes the kick, and we see another goal for Ontario. Number 4 for Ontario was Crystal Novak. And the ball back in the centre. The ball is in play. We have a good contest from the ruck. No one easily able to win the tap, so no advantage to either team. But Ontario looks like they're going to get a break out on their goal side, with Quebec's ruckman trying to get back and make a good contest over there after the ball up in the middle. Ontario gets a little bit of open space in front of goal. No one's able to mark the ball as it went between 2 of the attacking players, but Quebec looks like they're going to get out of defence. Ball goes up, it's very high in the air, no mark able to be taken. None of the players were able to get up towards the ball. Great shepherd by Quebec there to give their players some time and space, and they're going to come up the wing. No, it's a smother by Ontario, and we're going back straight into the 50. It's a float of a ball, and there's 2 Ontario women right there. Number 4 again, Crystal Novak taking the mark, this time a little bit further out on a slight angle, but I imagine it shouldn't be too much of a trouble to take the kick. And again, off 2 steps, she walks in and puts it over the head of the goal umpire for another goal. Ball is back in play again in the centre of the ground, and we see a scrap going forward for Ontario. Number 7 comes out with the kick down the ground. It's a good kick going almost 40 metres down into the Ontario forward 50. And we've got the ball going to ground with its 3-on-3 here, so it should be fairly even, but Ontario now has the loose player with Quebec trying to get back to defend. She comes out with it, plays the handball back the way she was facing, which is exactly what she should be doing. Number 10 gets a run in and a kick, but it just goes over to the left-hand side of the post, and will be another behind for Ontario. Again, Ontario is playing well here and having a lot of opportunities in front of goal. They've converted a few, but they would like to be a little bit further in front at this point. Quebec still hoping to push into their forward half a little bit more. So the ball comes out from the goal kick to the left-hand side for Quebec, but it's all Ontario. No one's able to track down that ball for Quebec, and it comes straight back in. A good intercept there from the Quebec player in that left back pocket, unable to take the mark, and the ball comes to ground. It looks like we have a free kick for Ontario. I didn't see the call, but it was possibly a push in the back, judging by the way the players fell onto the ground, and so there's a kick about 30 metres out on a 45-degree angle for Ontario. She centres the ball. It's going to be a contest right in front of goals. It comes to ground. Quebec unable to take the mark, but they do come away with the ball almost. Then the kick comes out. We see a good contest there on the back pocket. Ontario able to get in front and take the mark, so they might have another shot at goal here. And it's a quick pass inside, dropped mark. It was a good idea, but unable to execute exactly correctly. But the ball comes to ground anyway. Ontario takes the ball, gets the kick on the snap, and it's another goal for Ontario. see a lot of yellow shirts running around on the ground today, giving water to the players. It is about 32 degrees here in Toronto, and the humidity is somewhere close to 80 or 90%, meaning people are feeling much, much warmer than it actually is, and trying to keep everybody hydrated. So the players are probably feeling it, and this contest in the middle now goes Quebec's way. They managed to get the kick, but they can't get it too far forward. In fact, it probably goes a little bit backwards into Ontario's half. Well, Quebec comes away with the ball, gets a good kick. It travels about 20 metres, and there's a contest, but no mark, with the players going hard at the ball, unable to get clean possession. There's a tackle, there's an arm over the shoulder, but it's been judged the other way as holding the ball for Ontario there, so clearly prior opportunity for the Quebec player, unable to get the disposal away cleanly, and it's been paid for Ontario. 30-metre kick downfield, and there was a dropped mark. Probably should have been taken, and Quebec now comes away with the ball. Good kick up the ground, and unable to mark, comes off hands, and Ontario walks away, and they switch the ball to the outer side. It's now going to be, looks like a 3-on-1 for Ontario, and they get a running bounce there coming in. They get the ball in towards that pocket, but it's fallen in the gap between all of the players that were in their positions, and Quebec was able to be the first one to the ball. They get it away, and it's a good handball at the back while she was in the middle of a tackle there. They get the ball back up to the halfway point of the field. Maybe they can make something of this if they can get that ball. Ontario picks it up, and they tackled after about a second. She had an opportunity, and it's a free kick to Quebec, so now they get an opportunity to go forward. The players will have to get quickly into their position because there was no one in front of the halfway point until that moment in time. Kicks out towards the right-hand side, and the mark is taken there on the wing by number 50 for Quebec. And she takes her time to set up, waiting for someone to lead into space for her, and she gets it onto that left boot. There's a 2-on-1 for Quebec, but Ontario is able to get in front, spoil the ball to the ground, and now they're out on the outer side. They've got a lot of open space here. She's not being pressured at all by anyone from Quebec. Takes a running bounce and manages to pick it up on the second chance. Could have taken a few more steps there if she wanted to, but she gets the ball into the forward 50 anyway, and it's a contest on the ground. We've got a 3-on-2 for Ontario, but Quebec comes away with the ball, and they kick it out outside of the 50, and it's here at the back of the centre square with now coming across, but the kick doesn't quite go far enough, and it's intercepted by Ontario. She's taken off on the wrong side of the mark there. She's trying to turn around. No, there we go. The umpire's called play on. Kick to the other side, mark, play on again, and we go into that forward pocket. It's going to be a contest. It's just over the heads of the two players that were running at the ball, and we see Ontario run through. It looks like it was touched immediately off the boot. There was a good smother by Quebec, and they come out now, and they're pushing back out of the 50, but it's straight down the corridor. Can they get in? They do. There's a mark taken about 35 metres out from their offensive goal. They've got an opportunity to try and go forward once again. But it's a spoil in the contest. It's a small kick, but it gets cut off very quickly by Ontario. We have the immediately moving back into the defensive, into the offensive 50 for the yellow and green. Ball is on the ground. It's a scrap. No one wants to pick it up, so we come through. We do eventually have someone pick up the ball, and it's a handball and a pass, and then a snap at goal, and we see it go through for a major for Ontario.
They were lined up here yesterday. I don't know if that's kind of...
Okay, back to the restart of playing. We've got the centre ground. Ontario wins the tap down. It comes out the back, immediately can pass off again, and they're out on the outer side. Unable to take that mark for the short kick, but it's no consequence. There's no one from Quebec to make pressure, and they go into the forward 50. It was a good contest between those players there, potentially a blocking or a holding the man call against Quebec, but it wasn't paid. And the ball comes to ground, and there's the siren for half-time. So we'll give you a score update very quickly, and then we'll take about 5 to 10 minutes so the players can get some water, and we'll be back shortly for the second half.
All good.
So it's 4-5. So just to update the score for everybody, it is 4 goals, 5-29 for Ontario and 1 behind to Quebec at halftime. We'll be back very shortly.
Yep.
So just a small update for the scores there. The Ontario wing managed to kick 5 goals, which puts them on 5 goals, 5-35 total, and Quebec is still 1 behind on the board.
Oh no, Derek's just a douche.
The AFL had this wonderful gift from
I forgot.
I was just thinking that.
So we're almost back here for the second half between the Quebec and Ontario women's teams for the AFL Canada Nationals tournament. The score is currently 35 to Ontario to 1 for Quebec. They'll be hoping to get something on the board. Yesterday they didn't manage to score, so they have made an improvement in this matchup. When they played Ontario yesterday, Ontario definitely outclassed them, and that form seems to have continued today. But Quebec has definitely picked up a little bit, and they're getting a bit more of the ball. They just need to get it into their forward half. So just waiting for the umpires to be ready and everyone to be in place, including our boundary and goal umpires.
Good on the time. Come on, Peter. Hang on! Got so many bloody jobs I can do.
Just about to get underway. And 20 minutes left in the women's tournament for this weekend. So the tap goes Ontario's way, but it comes out to Quebec and immediately tackled there. She's held onto for too long. No, she wasn't able to get rid of the ball correctly, and it is a free kick to Ontario. So they're going to go forward immediately with the first play of the game. She turns to the right and moves it out onto the wing, but unable to make the distance there. So there was a bit of a mix-up, but quick hands back. It was almost a 1-2 there in the end, and makes the short kick into the forward end of the centre square, and they should be able to move into their forward 50 with this kick. It comes off the boot. It travels 30 metres down. It was a good lead, but Quebec was able to get in front. Now she gets a good clean possession there on the half volley and kicks it out. And we have a contest here back in the middle of the ground, but it's all Ontario on the ball. It almost feels like they have an extra on the ground. But as they kick it back in, the intercept mark is taken by Quebec, and we have the ball coming back out onto the left wing as they move out of defence. It's a 2-on-1 against Quebec, and she goes to pick it up, unable to take clean possession. Still contesting it there on the wing, and they come down. The ball comes out from the tackle. It's a high contact call against Quebec, so she's caught someone over the shoulder with the tackle, which means it'll be a free kick to Ontario. She runs around the mark, touches it inside, but it's touched on the way through, and we'll see the ball contested on the ground. It's kicked out. It's a little bit of clean space, and contact there as the ball comes to ground, but unable to get clean possession and get it out. There it comes out now. It's come out to the left-hand side, goes out the back, and Quebec almost able to take that good mark overhead, but it just slips through their hands. And the Ontario able to clean it up. They get the ball into their forward line, right into the pocket, but it's across the face. No one able to get clean possession, and we see a behind for Ontario, which moves their score to 5-6. 36 is the total against Quebec's 1. So we'll see Quebec come out of the goal square here. It's a high ball, but there's no one there. Thankfully for them, Ontario was unable to take the mark. And we'll see a scrap, but Ontario gets the ball off the ground. They kick it into the square, and the intercept is taken by Quebec. The ball comes out on the outer side, and it's again all Ontario. Quebec unable to get players to the ball first. The ball comes straight back in. It's a long kick, but it's across the face, and we'll see it go across the boundary. So the ball back in play, and there's a free kick. There's an infringement in the ruck, and it's going to be a free kick. No, it's not an infringement, sorry. It was a bad throw, so they're going to redo it. And it goes in. Ontario gets the tap, but it's out the back, and there wasn't really anyone there, so the ball comes out into space, and it's contested once again. Ontario getting the ball. It's a good chase by Quebec and puts enough pressure on the kick that she can't get it away cleanly. And Ontario will pick up the crumb and take the snap on the right boot. It goes straight over the head of the goal umpire. That's another 6 points for Ontario. That should take them to 42 in total. So 6 goals, 6, 42 to no goals, 1, 1. Ball is back up and in play, and we'll see Ontario come away with it, but they're immediately tackled as they get the ball, and Quebec able to make that as a turnover. The mark is taken. She almost plays on, but pulls up just in time before the umpire has a chance to call her on. And we'll see Quebec almost go into their forward 50 here. It's kicked to a big contest. Ontario get hands to it first, but it still comes to ground. There's a tackle, and it's not able to get it cleanly, but picked up again. Ontario get the kick away, but it's picked up by Quebec. She takes a couple of steps and is taken down. It's a good tackle, and that'll see a free kick. Quebec will need to get back in defence. We've got one player here wide open in the half-forward line. It's number 2 for Ontario. There's no one on her at all. There's no one on the mark. She runs through. She takes a bounce. She gets it back again on the second time. The ball doesn't go far enough. The mark is not taken by Quebec, and there's a contest in the goal square. We see them going for it. Ontario gets the handball out, but no one there to pick it up immediately. It goes to ground, and we'll see Quebec come in and help each other out. But there's a free kick paid. I think it's a push in the back, so it's going to be a free kick to Ontario, about 15 metres out, but it's a very tight angle, so we may see them pass off, or they're gonna go back and take a shot. So the umpire just setting the mark there for Quebec, showing them the spot at which the free kick was paid. They cannot advance further than that mark until the ball is kicked or the umpire calls play on. Ontario runs in and makes the kick, and it looks like it is going to be a goal for Ontario, so another 6 points on the board for them. So we're playing the tournament in Toronto this weekend, which means the Ontario women have had the easiest trip to make. Everyone else has come from at least 6 hours away by car for Montreal and 5 hours by plane for those coming from Vancouver. And they've got the biggest pool of players to choose from, which means they probably have the best team on the pitch, and it has shown very much over this weekend as we're back into play, and the tap is not won cleanly, but the scrum follows the ball out towards the wing. We're outside the centre square. The ball's travelled about 35 metres on the ground without being picked up by anybody, and we see it come out. Quebec comes away with the ball, but they can't get a clean kick. It's a smothered kick, and it will once again be on the ground, but Ontario able to pick up the crumbs once it's all said and done, and we see it go forward. It's a one-on-one. It's a good hard contest of the ball with some pushing on both sides, but it was all legal, and Ontario had a player come through and in support who kicks it into the forward 50. It was a good kick, unable to take the mark. It's scrappy again on the ground. The ball comes to hands, and it's going to be a free kick to Quebec for a push in the back. So we set up, and Quebec will want to find some space here coming out of defence, and her kick is absolutely shanked, but the umpires called a 50-metre penalty. So the player on the mark, as was mentioned only a couple of minutes ago, when they set the mark, they cannot go over that line until either the ball is kicked or the umpire calls play on. If they do go over that line, the free kick is then taken 50 metres further downfield. So it's quite a significant penalty, and you try to avoid it at all times. Quebec will definitely want to use this to their advantage and try and get into their forward 50. The kick is an absolute grubber, and there are a few worms that may have got some haircuts as that ball went over their heads, but Ontario pick it up and kick it into their forward 50, and it's a good intercept mark taken by Quebec. Well read in the right space, and she was able to take the ball uncontested. She kicks it out onto the wing. It's a foot race. It's 2-on-3 for Quebec. They had one player short. Now they finally get the supporting player come across, and it's an illegal disposal. It was a good bump there. She was unable to make the play. She's setting up on the mark, and now everyone's facing the right way. And we'll see the very bright boots of number 34 for Quebec here move the ball forward. She gets it away. It's a good kick, and mark taken on the forward 50 there for Quebec. They're about 50 metres out, so it's probably a little bit too far to score. They'll want someone to lead in, or they'll kick it into the hot spot at the front of the goal square, which is exactly what happens. Ontario gets up and hands on the ball, but unable to bring them to their chest for the mark. It comes to ground, and there's a contest. We'll probably see a ball up here if they can't get it out, but it comes out. Quebec gets away with it, and they get the kick. It goes sideways rather than forward, and it's a foot race to the ball, and we see 2 Ontario for 1 Quebec, and a good shepherd is laid, preventing them from putting a tackle on the player who picks up the ball. Good kick straight up the centre of the ground, and it's play on immediately. And they go into their forward 50. It's all Ontario again. The Quebec fullback is running back into the goal square. Ontario picked it up. They were unable to get a clean possession, but it did come out in the scrap, and they got it to boot. It goes over the goal umpire's head, and it is another goal for Ontario. So an extra 6 points on the board for them. We have 8 goals, 6, 54 to 1 point for Quebec. So the umpire is just informing everyone that where they're allowed to stand for that ball up. You're only allowed 4 players in that centre square, plus 1 ruck from each team inside the centre circle, and just making sure that everyone was in the right place. But the ball comes to ground. There's no clear advantage or clearance out of that play, but we see Quebec with the possession for the most part, unable to get clean possession and get the pass. And in this instance, they've picked it up and been adjudged holding the ball with the opportunity to dispose and not having been taken. So the ball comes out to the right-hand side. It's a dropped mark by Ontario. That is a great tackle by Quebec, and it's not awarded. So a little bit of an interesting decision there, but it's play on, and the ball is still out on the wing. Ontario gets away, kicks, it's going towards the boundary line. There's a foot race on here. There's 2 from each side getting in. Quebec gets there first, tries to kick it forward, and it rolls out of bounds for a throw-in. Probably just outside the forward 50 for Quebec. They're getting some opportunities to move into their forward 50 here. They may be really hoping to get a goal on the board for this particular game. All the players trying to do their best to put their hand up for the national squad, the AFL Canada national team. We have the ball rolling again out of the ruck with no clean possession. We get a handball going over the top, back towards the other way, and the scrum goes in the other direction, back towards the boundary. There's high contact being called, so it's going to be an Ontario kick. It looks like someone was caught as everyone was running through trying to pick up that ball. So Ontario go down the ground. They move towards the centre of the ground. It was a good contest, and she takes the mark as play on. She's straight off, burning all of her opposition and leaving them in her wake. She gets into that forward 50. It's a good contest. Unable to take the mark. Good tackle by Quebec. The ball comes to ground again, and Ontario first to their feet, pick the ball up and shoot. It's just off to the right-hand side, so it's a behind for Ontario. And sees them move to 8-7-55. So Quebec setting up to take this out of the goal square, and a torpedo of a kick spirals out. It needs to be touched before it goes out of bounds, and it is. And there's a good tackle as she picks it up. No prior opportunity to cleanly play the ball. It heads back towards the centre of the ground after all of the ruckus is said and done. It's a clean kick to the inside, but unfortunately didn't make the distance. And in the contest, Ontario comes away with the ball. It is kicked, but not on target, off to the right-hand side. It's another behind for Ontario. It's 8 goals. 8-56 is their total score. Ball is in play, and Quebec straight up the middle of the ground. They get the kick. There's a good lead into space. She takes an excellent running mark there, under pressure from the opposition, right behind her with a hand just over the shoulder. They get the kick down the ground, and Ontario is pushed off the ball. We see a contest happen. The ball comes to ground. She may have had prior opportunity there. No, it's not. The umpire calls it. It's going to be a ball up on the outer wing, just forward of centre for Quebec. Quebec is the only nominated ruckman for that particular contest, so they get a clean hit out to advantage, and they'll get the ball going forward. They're inside their forward 50, and they'll want to try and make the most of it. The ball is still on the ground. It's being fumbled towards the boundary. We see several more players join the contest, and it's still not able to get clean possession. It's moving and it's moving and it's moving, and we'll see a ball up. No, it's been a free kick awarded to Quebec, so there was an infringement in that contest, which the umpire has seen and paid the free kick, so they're just inside the 50. They put the ball forward, and there's a good mark taken. They're now about 30 metres out. It may still just be beyond them in terms of scoring range. She lines up and tries to put the ball at the top of the square and goes over the heads. It's heading out towards the boundary. It's contested. There's no one able to get to the ball first cleanly, and we'll see it run over the line. It's a boundary throw-in, so no score. Quebec have another opportunity to get a goal on the board. This is probably the best opportunity they've had since the beginning of the first half. The ball is thrown in. It's over the heads of the rucks, and we've got most of the players forward and midfield for both teams, or defence for Ontario, getting in. Quebec goes in, they run through, and it's a goal. It's come off a boot of a Quebec player, so they get their first goal on the board for the game, which sees them move to 1 goal, 7 points, and the Quebec support contingent has just learned that it was a goal and have been very enthusiastic about their support for their team.
I heard he was here. He was here yesterday.
So Quebec able to make the most of the ball going into their forward 50 there and put pressure on Ontario because they tried to get the ball out. It came to ground and they made a good contest and got a boot on the ball right on the goal line for the score. So we're back in the centre and we see the rucks go up, but Ontario gets a clean hit there. She was really the only one that jumped for the ball, and they come away with it on the wing, but turn back inside, kick towards the centre of the ground, right up the corridor. And there's a 3-on-2 for Ontario, so they're definitely getting numbers to the ball. They're working very hard despite the heat and the humidity, and it's still coming out. It's crumbed, it's bouncing around. There's a few players trying to get possession, not able to get it cleanly, but they do get it out. It moves forward about 15 metres after that handball from Ontario, and Quebec able to get the ball, but unable to get away from their player who was marking them, so the ball went to ground, and we see it bouncing around again, but it does come out eventually for Quebec. They get it outside the 50 on the outer wing, and there's 3 of them there. They boot it further up the wing. It's another good opportunity for them to go forward. They've got even numbers, but unable to get the ball cleanly. They do smother the kick from Ontario, so it's come to ground, and we'll see a ball up forward of centre on the outer wing for Quebec, making a late charge to get some points on the board. It's probably not going to be enough, but they're definitely giving it their all. So we see the ball go in the air. It was a kick out of the contest, and no one able to get first hands on it. It comes off the ground, and Ontario runs away with it towards the near side. So we've got a 3-on-1 for Ontario, and attempted shepherd. It didn't actually make contact, but it was enough. And the ball goes forward again. We're back into the centre of the ground as it comes off the boot of the Quebec player coming through in defence. They kick it forward onto the forward 50. It's a great, exactly 15-metre pass, I would imagine, and it was well taken by the Ontario forward there. She's 50 metres out, and she looks like she's confident in her ability to kick the distance. So she's taken the steps back, and there's a good couple of leads forward. She does go towards one of those leads, and it's just over the head, unfortunately. It wasn't able to get it far enough forward. Quebec takes possession, gets tackled, and the ball comes to ground. She got the kick away, but Ontario pick it up and make a shot for goal. It goes across the face for another behind. So 8 goals, 9. 57 is the total score for Ontario to 1 goal, 1-7 for Quebec. So we're back out from the kick out after that behind towards the outer wing, towards the defensive 50 for Quebec on the outer side. The umpire has blown the whistle, so there was an infringement by Quebec, and Ontario is going to get the opportunity to come back in. They've seen a lead there into that forward pocket. It's a very well kicked ball. Unable to take the mark, but it was an infringement by Quebec for holding the man. They did not allow them a clean run of the football. So you're not allowed to hold the jumper or hold the arms of the player who's running at the ball to try and take a mark. And Ontario gets the kick in, and it's marked right on the goal line. She plays on and kicks it through. So another goal for Ontario, which puts them on 9 goals, 9. 63 is their total score against 1 goal, 1 for Quebec, 7 points. And we have about 2 minutes left in this ball game for the final for the women's tournament. An excellent mark taken in the goal square there by Ontario. Played on immediately and kicked it through from point-blank range. It was always going to be a goal. It's just a matter of how. And they get themselves a good 56 points in front of the Quebec opposition. So the Raps go up. Quebec has missed the ball entirely going through, jumping through. And Ontario come away with the ball. They get it into their forward 50 again. It's picked up, but unable to get the kick away. It was a fantastic tackle by the Quebec defender. She's brought it to ground and wins the free kick for her efforts. So here in the back pocket, looking for an option. Going to have to play on shortly. Gets a good kick up the ground. It's a good 40 metres, but it's all Ontario. Quebec were too close. They weren't expecting it to go that far. It came off the boot very cleanly. So Ontario is coming back in. They put it onto that forward pocket. And no mark is taken, unfortunately, but it does come to ground. She's still giving second and third effort and a fourth effort and still going. She's getting in there, helping her teammates out every step of the way. And then we have Quebec coming over with the ball. It's a kick. It's only about 4 metres. There's a handball outside, and they're able to go. It's another handball. They're getting their way up the ground. The kick is smothered, and there's a bump onto the Quebec player by Ontario. It's an effective bump, but the intercept mark is taken by Quebec as the ball goes forward. So they'll try and get the ball back up this wing. There's a lot of players in a congested area, so no one's making a very, very open lead. Although there were players close and open, and they were able to pick up the pieces after not taking the clean mark. We see the handball go from one Quebec player to another. There's a chain of them there. There was someone else open on the outer side, but they're unable to get the ball across as Ontario puts on the pressure. And now we come back towards the near side, right near the boundary. As the ball is along the ground, no one's taking clean possession. Everyone's throwing their arms up, calling for a free kick. The ball comes to very close to the boundary line and tumbles. The tackle was there. She had no prior opportunity. There's another tackle, and the ball finally goes out of bounds. we'll see a stoppage as the ball is thrown in by the boundary umpire. The ball is in the air. The ruck both contested. It's won by Ontario. It's a very good tap to advantage. They'll get the clearance from that. They almost got tackled there. Didn't know what to do with so much space, and it runs and tumbles along the ground towards the forward pocket for Ontario. We'll have a throw. No, it's not. It's been called deliberate out of bounds. So Ontario get a free kick. You are not allowed to deliberately try and kick the ball out of play, which is what that free kick was paid for. The ball is centred towards the goal square and it comes to the ground. Again, Ontario first to the ball. They get the kick away and it'll bounce away to the left-hand side, so it's behind. They score another point. So 9 goals 10-64 to 1 goal 1-7. Quebec get play underway quickly. It goes over the heads of everyone. They may have got lost what they were looking at there, and that is the final siren. So that's the end of the tournament for the women's players. And we see Ontario take the spoils over Quebec in the final. The final score being 9 goals 10-64 to 1 goal 1-7. Ontario will be very happy with that performance, but Quebec did improve from yesterday after they played the same matchup for the first round of the tournament, and they'll be hoping to improve before they have to play them again potentially later in the year. Next up, I think we have the men's consolation final, and then after that will be the men's round final for this weekend.
Straight up. Go. Go, guys. One.